love, welcome back to my channel. Sorry I took like a 2-week hiatus. The upload speed at my cabin was atrocious, so I couldn't get videos out, but I'm back. I have so many ideas, I'm so pumped. Happy 2021. Okay, today we're going to be talking about digital art versus traditional art. These are my experiences, my opinions, my journey with digital versus traditional. This isn't like a global international opinion, but I thought I'd give you my 2 cents as an artist that has done traditional art her entire life and has only done digital art for the past 4 months or so. So since traditional art is my longest standing art practice, I'm going to talk about my experiences with traditional art first, then digital, and then talk about like them together, if that makes sense. So the main mediums I use are acrylic paint and charcoal and just graphite pencils and some occasional like fine line pen work. Acrylic is definitely the form I am most comfortable with, and I mainly do surrealist abstract work and also traditional like landscape work just because that is where I started. I really enjoy traditional art because I feel really connected to the pieces I'm working on. I have my hands on a palette knife as I'm flowing across the canvas. I have like all these paints that I get all over me. I have these giant canvases I get to stare at and just watch and like create on. And it's a very physical, emotional process, if you know what I mean, because you're so connected, you're stuck in this space, like moving back and forth, trying to get your idea out onto a canvas, erasing those eraser smudges getting all over the canvas. I really enjoy traditional art because I get to get down and dirty, I guess, with the canvas. I am there, like, trying to get my thoughts out onto this canvas. Traditional art gets very expensive though pretty quickly. As a acrylic artist, acrylic paint runs out very fast, and to get very opaque paints, you normally have to get more expensive paints. And especially with brushes, you have to renew brushes every once in a while. More expensive brushes do last longer, so it's kind of a fair investment. And then the biggest money suck is canvas, because normally, if you decide to keep the painting, once you're done with the painting, you get this one canvas, one use out of it, and now it's stuck in your studio or wherever you decide to put it. And obviously, I think it's worth it. I love painting on canvas and seeing my work come to life, but it can add up, especially when you're pumping out like 100 paintings a year. And there's always those canvases you get mad at and tear at, or is that like just something I do? Because I've definitely punched a palette knife and ripped a canvas before. Okay, next up, digital art. I am obviously not very experienced in digital art. I've only been doing it for 4 months. I've mingled with it before that, but like really seriously have spent the past 4 months working on digital art as well as traditional, but digital art has been the main thing I've been experimenting with. At the moment, I use Photoshop on my touchscreen computer. I started off using Clip Studio Paint. I got like their free trial, and I really liked it. Clip Studio Paint is made for artists. It is mainly made, I believe, for manga and anime type art, which is not what I do, but I really enjoyed exploring it because it felt like almost Photoshop, but really for artists. And obviously Photoshop has those art decks you can set up that is just for art and not for Photoshop work or like photo touch-up, but Clip Studio is just for artists. Quite honestly, I didn't even know you could draw and do art on Photoshop until 4 months ago when I got on Twitch and started watching streamers, and I was like, they're drawing on Photoshop. I've been paying like $100 a year for that, and I could be drawing on it. So I decided to get rid of the Clip Studio Paint, even though I really liked it, but it didn't make sense to have another form of digital art when I already had Photoshop being paid for. And I really am glad I did that. I love Photoshop. I love doing art with it. I really wish I could get Procreate, but my iPad sensitivity, it's really old and the touch sensitivity is really poor and it's not compatible with an Apple Pen. So some of my favorite things about digital art is that it doesn't cost anything. Like obviously you have to pay for the software and maybe like a tablet or a pen, but over time the costs are erased by the amount of work you're making, and your work doesn't cost any supplies expense unless you decide to buy a brush pack, but like you could literally get like 10 brushes for $2 or for free. So it is really cost effective and it's portable. I can't bring my 5-foot canvas like wherever I'm going, but I can bring my computer, I can bring my iPad. Like, it is very portable. Another thing I like is the versatility of colors without having to mix your paints or buy another bottle of paint because you don't have that color. You have all of these colors at your disposal. You have all different shades, all different tones, like everything at your disposal. And you have whatever canvas size you want. You can do pixel size, you can do centimeters, inches. You can customize what size you want with a touch of a button and inputting a few numbers. Another thing I really like about digital art is it's more forgiving with mistakes. You can press an undo button, you can zoom in and zoom out to really get those details. It is very forgiving. One last thought, and obviously my opinions don't hold that much weight, but I've seen a lot of debate on whether or not digital art deserves to be its own art form or if it's easier or harder than traditional art, and I don't think that argument is always fair because as someone that's done traditional art their entire life and is very comfortable but still growing within traditional art, I think that digital art is its own challenge. I think digital art is beautiful and so much fun, but it is challenging. It was a huge adjustment for me from going from traditional to digital, and it takes just as much time, if not more, and I don't think that the argument that digital art is not art is valid because it is just another art form, and as our world is collectively moving towards a more technological time, it makes sense that art also has a space in this technological realm. So I would say that digital art is definitely art and is valid in any form. I think that digital art is beautiful and it's really cool seeing other people's work being produced, and it's also a lot more accessible to people that maybe don't have money for art supplies. So I think that digital art is a beautiful art form as well as traditional. I love them both. Okay, so now you've heard my thoughts on traditional art and my thoughts on digital art, and now I'm going to talk about them kind of comparing to each other. I obviously don't have a favorite. I think that I'm more comfortable with traditional art and more connected to traditional art, but digital art gives me more space to grow and experiment. I think that traditional is really good for studies and for my abstract work because abstract work I'm very connected with the canvas and throwing paint and really like honed in on what I'm doing for my abstract work, which I think is most likely going to stay strictly traditional and non-digital. But I really like digital because it lets me push my boundaries and experiment without having to worry about like having to throw out the canvas or redo it. Overall, I really enjoy both styles. I really enjoy traditional and digital, and I'm so excited to see what I can produce with both art forms this year. This year I think is going to be very transformative for my art process and my art pieces, and I can't wait to see what I produce. One last thing before I go, if you would like to join my Discord, I'm going to link it in the bio. It is a community of artists, gamers, all different types of people, and if you are looking for a community you would like to be a part of, I highly recommend you joining Liv's Art Galaxy. I think you'll really like it there. I have 3 new prints up on my Etsy, which I will also leave in the description. I would really appreciate it if you checked those out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell me in the comments like your thoughts on traditional or digital, or just your thoughts on like any art form. I'd really like to hear what you guys have to say. Peace and love, stay safe and healthy, and I will see you guys in my next video.